Be the new prototype with new Under Armour training shoes. The first pure performance trainers built for the athlete of tomorrow. Available May 3rd, but you can reserve yours today at Dick's Sporting Goods. Remember, every season starts at Dick's.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon in Bristol, Connecticut. Tony has the day off, so today's show should be a little less grumpy.
I'm Bob Ryan. Just a little less.
Bob, I suspect a lot less. A whole lot. By the way, how did I wind up in New England while you're in Washington in our studio? What's up with that?
I am working on that one.
Switcheroo.
Working on that one.
Welcome to PTI. Tony had the day off to play golf, but got rained out, so now he's sitting at home watching us angry at the world. Ha! And I'm joined by our good friend Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe. Let's start with the Boston Celtics again shutting down LeBron James. LeBron went 6 for 24 from the floor in Boston last night as the Celtics rolled to a 16-point victory. After the game, LeBron likened his predicament to going down 2-0 to the Pistons in the conference finals last season before bouncing back to sweep the series' next 4 games. Bob, is this reasonable?
Well, of course he's going to say that, but the fact of the matter is, Michael, that only 6% of the time does this happen, and they were a part of that 6%. The Celtics, however, here's where he can hang his hat on. In the first 2 games against Atlanta, they won by 23 and 19. They went to Atlanta, and as you well know, lost games 3, 4, and also 6. So the Celtics have to prove they can win on the road.
They do, and they have not played as well on the road, obviously, Bob. You know, there's an interesting component watching LeBron go through this. Reminds me absolutely of Michael Jordan in his early playoff series with the Pistons when they had Jordan rules, when Chuck Daly employed this defense, which is blitzing Michael Jordan. The Celtics are blitzing LeBron James, and they are making it work, Bobby.
I think the rules are stolen directly from these current rules, from those rules, and they're doing it with big people. They're trying to. The big key is they don't want him to turn the corner. But when he does, they do have help. Michael, if it were so easy and if they were so smart, why didn't they think of this in the last 2 or 3 years when he averaged about 34 points a game against them?
Well, Bob, they couldn't do it. There are 2 components here that are sort of new to this equation. Tom Thibodeau playing coaching defense for Doc Rivers, and the other thing is Kevin Garnett and Perkins, and they got these big bodies. Poe, when he comes in the game, they got guys as big as LeBron, which is difficult. It's like a football defense, and the whole thing is not to let him turn his shoulders like to the line of scrimmage, because once he starts going downfield, it's over for you. The Celtics are not letting him do that.
8 for 42. All right, now, I must acknowledge that the New Orleans Hornets look very impressive at games 1 and 2 of their series with the Spurs. And Chris Paul, now, you folks in the Big Easy thinking it's all over, right, Cher? Not so fast, my friends. These are the Spurs we're talking about, the 4-time champion Spurs. They get 31 from Manu and 31 from Monsieur Tony Parker, the Prince of Paris. It's now 2-1 Hornets, Mike. We got a series, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You like this series? Okay.
Well, I love this series, and you knew the Spurs would play with desperation. You know they're going to do it again. Bob, I still don't know, because that game was so close, longer than a lot of us thought it would be. I don't know if San Antonio is sort of in the space where they could think, okay, we're definitely going to get even. I think New Orleans probably found a lot of good to take away from that game last night and go into Game 4. But that duel with Parker and Chris Paul, that was fabulous.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one thing is adjustments, Mike, as you well know, are the key to playoff success. The Spurs, having been 4-time champions, know how to make adjustments. And what did Pop do? Greg Popovich? He changed defensive assignments. He put Parker on Chris Paul. He put Manu Ginobili on Mo Pete. He put Bruce Bowen on Peja Stojakovic, and he took him out of the game. Peja was killing him. Now, people want to say, well, Paul still got his 35. Yeah, but Peja was really hurting him.
Didn't go off, and that's critical, Bobby. You're so right. Bruce Bowen, who's a great defender, one of the best defenders in the league in the last 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
He can't guard Chris Paul. I mean, it's no slight to say that he can't guard Chris Paul. So Pop made the great adjustments, as you mentioned. Now, Byron Scott, who's no stranger to playoff basketball as a player or a head coach, he now gets to find out what adjustments he needs to make to try to still get a 3-1 advantage and take it back to New Orleans.
Chess game.
Let's move to baseball and a good old-fashioned mound charging. Richie Sexson took one high and not exactly tight last night, spurring him to take off after pitcher Kason Gabbard, culminating in a helmet throw to the back, a mound tackle, and a half noogie. After the game, Sexton explained, quote, "I'm a huge target. How hard is it to hit me? Hit me in the back or thigh, up near my face, no good," close quote. Bob, Sexton was suspended 6 games today and is appealing. Now, were his freak out and the suspension both justified?
That was the baseball equivalent of a basketball phony flop. He was already expecting the pitch before it came. You could have put Ted Washington or Vince Wilfork or some 350-pound run stuffer between him and that pitch. It was right down the middle. And then he goes out to the mound, throws a helmet. What, his purse wasn't handy? What kind of nonsense? I thought Richie
challenging his
totally embarrassed himself in that whole episode.
Really?
6'8", or as Ron Washington said, what is he, 6'13"?
Yeah, 6'13" was a good line. But okay, this was not, I guess it was a little, he overreacted, I guess you could say. I guess the reaction was not exactly warranted. I'll give you that. But Bob, when you have so many of these beanball wars, you know, I get tired of seeing guys throw up around the head. At least when you saw these wars in previous decades, people threw around the ankle, they threw around the thigh, maybe they hit a guy in the butt. But you can't be putting the ball up that high, even if it wasn't tight.
All right, I agree that you don't want, I don't like to see it around the head, but I'm telling you, that pitch was not any threat to anybody, except maybe the umpire if Gerald Laird happened to miss it. All right, now, are you ready for it, Mike? Another baseball etiquette controversy?
Sure.
Now, Cleveland Indian outfielder David DeLucci thinks Jabba Chamberlain doth celebrated too much after striking him out Thursday afternoon. It was a triple pumper. Now, the backstory is that DeLucci hit a 3-run bomb off Jabba the Heat when they last met on Tuesday. So Jabba says, hey, it had nothing to do with the homer. I was just celebrating a big out. Yeah, well, whatever. Now, do we have an issue here, Mike?
Only this. To me, there's an issue. There's a double standard I don't like, and Lucci pointed this out. You cannot have hitters doing this, because if hitters do it, pitchers didn't throw at them.
That's right.
The very next at bat, or even if it's a series or 2 away, they're going to retaliate if batters do this. Don't show me up.
Right.
Don't stroll. Don't walk out of the box. Don't. Okay, fine. So don't have pitchers out there doing this. It was about the home run, and it's over the top what Chamberlain's doing.
We're in the 4th decade of the me show off stuff in baseball, okay? We're in the 4th decade of it. I remember the first pitcher to do it was Dennis Eckersley. He used to give it the smoking gun thing after he'd strike the guy out. Okay. And then, you know, people talked about certain hitters who take an hour and a half to get around the bases. Ricky Henderson comes to mind?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What we need, Mike, is a baseball summit conference. At the highest level to say, okay, can we get back to just playing the game and stop all this nonsense?
No, they're not. No. It's not now. And everybody from their boys to their agents to their teammates will be encouraging them to retaliate when there's this kind of stuff. So, you know what? The best reaction always, the best retaliation is to take one deep the next time you face Mr. Job.
What would Frank Robinson do? That would be my credo, huh?
Woo, Frank Robinson. The Red Wings are red hot, but Hockeytown is looking a little deserted right now. Detroit dominated the Dallas Stars last night in their conference final opener. Johan Franzen scored his 12th goal of the playoffs. Chris Osgood was sterling in net again. But Mitch Albom points out that way too many seats were empty for a team this good. Bobby, you got any theories as to what in the world is wrong in Hockeytown?
Mike, the Red Wings won it all in 2002. Now, we've had 4 seasons since then. We didn't have one, and as you well know, we missed 1 season. They've averaged 114 points in those 4 seasons, and in the first 3 times around, they were big playoff flops. I think people are jaded, and I think that's letdown city, number 1. Now, is that warranted? But I think that's part of the whole thing.
It's not warranted.
And number 2, economics, perhaps. Maybe this is one place where people don't want to pony up for the excessive price of playoff tickets? Is it possible?
Yeah, Mitch mentions that in his column too, Bobby, and he sort of dismisses it, but to say I'm not going to encourage people to go out and sell the family heirlooms. But wait, this is the playoffs. If you want to be a little tired, a little blasé about the Red Wings in the regular season and not go to games, 76 through 81, fine. I understand that. But once you're in the conference finals against Dallas, no, people need to show up. Otherwise, it become Atlanta with the Braves where folks don't sell out playoff games. I think that's completely inexcusable. I wonder about hockey. They put out the ratings are up on Versus.
Yeah.
What about the attendance in the stands in situations like this?
And there's one more possibility. The price of octopus has gone up.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Derek Fisher gave Utah Jazz and their fans a great moment in sports a year ago. So why are they booing him?